Good morning. I'm slightly late. Missed the last couple of weeks. I was away, and then last week I was feeling a little bit under the weather, so didn't come in. I'm Illya. This is my Sunday morning 10:30, 4 a.m. show, 10:30 a.m. actually, where I play a bit of music and occasionally do an interview, which I haven't done for a while. But this morning I've got a lot of cool music to play, and it's a beautiful day outside in Wairarapa, though it has been a bit, I don't know, I mean, I don't consider rain to be bad weather, it's just weather, but it is always nice when the sun's out, isn't it? Anyway, right, to start things off today, I've got a pretty cool track by someone called Willem Devon, and it's called Be Thankful for What You've Got, and I really enjoy it, and I'm sure some people out there might enjoy it too. So without further ado, here it is.
Drive a great big Cadillac, against the white walls, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean, gangster white walls, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, against the white walls, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean.
Yeah, so that's Willem Devon with Be Thankful for What You've Got. Yeah, cracking tune, that one, quite enjoy it. What else has been happening? I saw a really cool documentary this week, actually, called The Alpinist, about a young Canadian climber. He's a solo rock climber, so basically like a mountaineer who just doesn't use ropes, which is, I suppose some people would consider it thrill-seeking, but the guys who do it, they're pretty good at what they do, and I suppose the major risk for them in most situations is uncontrolled conditions or weather events and things like that, which are the things that generally, impact any climber, even if you do have ropes. But The Alpinist, excellent documentary, saw it the other night, about a young guy called Marc-Andre Leclerc. Worth watching. Quite, I found it really inspiring, actually. And, had some really cool interviews, and it's quite a well-made documentary, really. Something else, what was the other thing I watched this week that was not too bad? I watched this quite odd movie called The Bad Bunch. It had Jason Momoa and Keanu Reeves in it. And, not one, if you don't like, if you're squeamish at a little bit of gore, probably give it a miss, but it's not like particularly gory. It just has a couple of moments that are probably maybe a little bit, I don't know, you might want to shield your eyes or the eyes of someone you're watching it with, possibly. But, not a bad film, really. It was a bit I found the parts of it were a little bit flat, but it was sort of quite well done. Jim Carrey's in it as well. He's got a funny little role in it. Worth a look. I also recently saw about a quarter of The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie and found it quite tiresome, really. It's sort of that glorification of thuggery that, I don't know, some directors get into, where they sort of make heroes out of thuggish criminals. But yeah, maybe they are heroes. Depends on how you look at things, I suppose. But yeah, just a bit strained. I found I've sort of watched about a quarter of it, and it was just, yeah. If you're into that sort of thing, I'm sure a few people enjoyed it, but it just seemed a bit, I don't know, cliche. Anyway, I've got another track, and these tracks actually are courtesy of my dear friend Nick, who actually works in a medical laboratory in Qatar. He's a top man, studied at the Milligan Institute, and is a very dear friend, and he sent me this really cool playlist. And this is another track from it that I'm really enjoying at the moment, and it's a cover of Cream, Sunshine of Your Love, and it's by Spanky Wilson. Check it out.
But
Yeah, so that's Sunshine of Your Love by Spanky Wilson. Quite enjoy that vision. It's certainly not as rocking as, or rock-y, perhaps, as the Cream version, but it's still pretty rocky. Not Rocky Balboa, but, you know, just boppy, Rocky and boppy. Yeah, so that's another goodie. What else was I thinking about talking about? Not much, really. Got a couple of days off. Got a day off tomorrow because it's Anzac Day on Tuesday, and my employer decided to let us have a day off, which will come out of our annual leave, unfortunately. I mean, you know, we're not getting sort of a paid day off, but technically it is. But it's nice to have another long weekend so soon after the last one. Sort of break up the monotony of the working, the grind of the week and so on, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, more music. I really need to get on to getting an interview on here again. I was talking about getting Gareth up here, the local historian, but Mr. Winter. Yeah, I'll have to get on to that. I should send him a text. But yeah, more music. There was a song I heard the other day that I thought I'd play. And it's by, I don't know, an artist who is sort of much maligned these days. And you could say he brings it on himself a bit because he is a bit of a, I suppose he's a bit out there. He's does suffer from mental illness on a certain level, which causes him to say quite outlandish things and perhaps try to make points in a certain manner that other people miss. And that's Kanye West. And he did say earlier this year or last year or something about loving Hitler, and a lot of people misunderstood what he meant, I believe. And I heard from someone else, they think what he was trying to convey was that he was, because he's a reasonably devout Christian, Kanye West, he sort of sees the world in a way where he believes that everyone should love each other like Jesus said. So when he was saying that he loved Hitler, he was sort of being clever in a way that was probably a little too clever. And so people took it the wrong way, and then, you know, they thought he hated Jews, and which isn't true at all because he has a lot of Jewish friends, but he's definitely an enigma, Kanye. But this is a track by him that I really like, and it's called Black Skinhead. I hadn't heard it in a while, but then I was reminded of it just the other day when I heard someone talking about it. And yeah, this is like a good example of what Kanye's actually capable of. He's an experimental musician who does things differently than a lot of other people, and I really think this track is a great insight into his musical ability. So here it is, Black Skinhead, Kanye West.
They gon' come to kill King Kong. Middle America packed in. Came to see me in my black skin. Number one question they asking. Fuck every question you asking. If I don't get ran at by Catholics, it comes to conservative Baptists. Claiming I'm overreacting like the black kids in Chirac, bitch. 4 in the morning and I'm zoning. They say I'm possessed. It's the omen. I keep it 300. Like the Romans, 300 bitches. We're the Trojans. Baby, we living in the moment. I've been a menace for the longest, but I ain't finished. I'm devoted, and you know it, and you know yucca, this shit about to go. I'm doing 500, I'm out of control. But there's nowhere to go, and there's no way to slow. If I knew what I knew in the past, I would've been blacked out on your ass. 4 in the morning, and I'm zoning, they say I'm possessed. It's an omen, I keep it 300. Like the Romans, 300 bitches. We're the Trojans, baby, we live it. In the moment, I've been a menace for the longest, but I ain't finished. I'm devoted, and you know it, and you know it. Stop all that coon shit, early morning cartoon shit. This is that goon shit, fuck up your whole afternoon shit. I'm aware I'm a wolf, soon as the moon hit. I'm aware I'm a king. Back out the tomb, bitch. Black out the room, bitch. Stop all that coon shit. These niggas ain't doing shit. Them niggas ain't doing shit. Come on, homie, what happened? You niggas ain't breathing, you gasping. These niggas ain't ready for action. Ready for action. In the morning, and I'm zoning, I think I'm possessed. It's an omen, I keep it 300. Like the Romans, 300 bitches. We're the Trojans, baby, we live it. In the moment, I've been a menace for the longest, but I ain't finished. I'm devoted, and you know it, and you know it. So follow me, up, cause this shit about to go. I'm doing 500, I'm out of control. But there's nowhere to go, and there's no way to slow. If I knew what I knew in the past, I would've been blacked out on your ass. God.
Okay, that's had a bit of language in it that I just realised people out there may be offended by, and I'm sorry about that, guys. I truly am. I do believe language is something that you can choose not to be offended by, though, possibly, if you care not to be. So perhaps you could just care not to be offended. Or conversely, you could be offended and let it ruin your day and perhaps your week and maybe even your year. But anyway, plenty more music where that came from, and music with less offensive language in it, perhaps. Or maybe I could just play a song called... No, I won't play that song. What I will play, though, is a track I listened to the other day that I thought was excellent. And then I thought to myself, I must remember where that track is on the playlist so that when I go to play it on Sunday, I don't struggle to find it. You know, I would play this track, but I think it's pretty sure it's played on like classic hits all the time, and it's called "Dancing in the Moonlight" by Top Loader. And but instead of playing it, I'm going to tell you all a little something I found out from an article I read earlier this year about that track. That it was actually originally written by a French group, and the singer who wrote it, it's actually about being beaten up by a group of thugs, which is really quite funny when you hear the song, that when you find out that's what it's about. In fact, I should just play it now, because, I mean, I will play it, in fact, because when you hear it, this song here is about being beaten up by a bunch of thugs in France. So yeah, check it out. It certainly doesn't convey that through the song itself. Here it is.
Every night when that moon is big and bright, it's a supernatural delight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. Everybody here is out of sight. They don't bark and they don't bite. They keep this loose, they keep it tight. Everybody
in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. We get it almost every night, and when that moon is big and bright, it's a supernatural delight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight.
Okay, I misremembered that story slightly. It was, it is about being beaten up on a trip in France, and it was written by Sherman Kelly, who is the lead singer of King Harvest. So King Harvest were the original composers of that track, and then Top Loader did the cover that got really famous, I think. But anyway, so they went for a walk out in town when they were on tour, and then they went down to the beach to chill out, and then they were beaten by a gang member with baseball bats. Wow, it's actually a lot more traumatic than that. Far out. That's crazy. Oh, so it turns out they believe that they were the first victims of the Fountain Valley Gang, who a few years later, or 3 years after they'd beaten Sherman Kelly and I think perhaps even sexually assaulted his girlfriend, one of them, they killed 5 tourists. Wow. And so, yeah, on some level, that song that we just listened to, that upbeat number, was inspired by that crazy attack. How bizarre, eh? How bizarre. All right, what else? Another new song I recently heard. Well, it's not a new song. I mean, I wonder if I'd get away with playing this as well. I mean, it's so, you see, you listen to songs at home and you sort of, I don't know, maybe I'm conditioned to certain language in music, and I just don't even, it doesn't register with me. But then perhaps if you're playing it on the radio to people might sort of be used to quite, I don't know, what would you say, vanilla language in their everyday lives. So if there's a word that perhaps they might find offensive they might be grossly offended if they hear it. Whereas myself, I mean, as a writer and a person who has sort of a great love of language, I don't think there really are any words that offend me. There's words that I don't like, but I don't know if there are really words that offend me as such. But no, I don't need to look up the lyrics to that. I'm pretty sure it's pretty safe. Oh no, actually, here we go. We'll play a little bit of electronic, eh? We'll play a track by The Prodigy. I did see that the other week. It was the anniversary of Prodigy releasing Firestarter. But this track here is from the album before that, which I can't even remember the name of offhand, but anyway. Here it is, it's called Skylined, The Prodigy. It's from Music for the Jilted Generation. Very good album, check it out if you haven't heard it. Yeah, so that's Skylined by The Prodigy. Actually, something else interesting that happened the other day was approximately 11 days ago, Anne Perry died. Anne Perry, you may not know who that is, but she was actually the woman who was made infamous by the movie Heavenly Creatures. She was the British woman who, as a teenager, helped kill her friend's mother with a brick. And Peter Jackson made the movie, which starred Kate Winslet and I can't remember the other actor's name who was in it. She's a Kiwi. But anyway, yeah, Anne Perry went on to sell 25 million novels, which is pretty good. Pretty good effort. And there's actually some good resources online about her, and sort of an interview where she talks about the mistakes she made as in her youth in killing, and how she sort of did her time for that crime, and probably went through a lot of mental stress and turmoil over the years relating to it as well. But yeah, she definitely did well on the writing front, and died in Los Angeles actually after she'd moved there to push some of her. She wrote thrillers, sort of detective thrillers, I think. She was pushing some of them as screenplays and over the past few years in Hollywood, etc. But that's pretty interesting. I had no idea that. Or maybe I recall reading a few years ago that she was a writer, but I didn't realise that she'd sold 25 million books. It's a pretty good effort. And I wouldn't mind selling 1 million books, let alone 25 mil. Well done, Anne Perry. But yeah, she's the killer turned thriller. Wow, that's almost shock jock level of radio banter there, guys. You're really been treated to something this morning. Right, I've got more music, and there's a song that I added to my. Where is it? It's this is by an Australian group. Well, I always do this. I'm pretty sure they're Australian, and I'm going to check right now before I go any further. They are called Big Thief, and okay, they're not Australians. They're Americans. Why did I think they were Australians? I don't know. But anyway, this is a really cool song that I'm a big fan of, and it's called Shark Smile by Big Thief.
She was a shark smile in a yellow van. She came around and I stole a glance in my youth. The vampire Evelyn shone quiet as roses stain. It came over me at a bad time, but who wasn't right on a moonlit line? Had her in my eye, 85 down the road of a dead end lane, and she said, "Ooh."
It's a lovely tune, isn't it? She's got a great voice. Yeah, good band, Big Thief. Check them out. Check them out a bit more if you like that one. I posted articles relating to the last two things I was talking about. That rather strange story of the origins of Dancing in the Moonlight, which was actually covered by Top Loader a lot later than I thought, or not until like 2000. I don't really know much about Top Loader, I think. I'm not sure they had many other hits besides that cover, which is always a shame for a group, isn't it, perhaps? You know, if you get your big moment of fame from covering someone else's song, then it would certainly impact your ego in a strange way, I'd say. But anyway, yeah, so on my Facebook page, which is Illya Behaviour on Arrow FM, I have posted a link to that article and also a link to the article about Anne Perry. And in the article about Anne Perry, there's actually a link to an interview with her where she talks about her past, her sort of unfortunate past in New Zealand and so on. But, you know, it's always worth checking these things out for yourself. And then you can pause and reflect on them, draw your own conclusions. More music I've got here. A song that I think I was going to play the other week and then I didn't play it because I wasn't here. So with here it is. It's probably a little bit melancholy, really, and a bit of a sort of feeling sorry for yourself song, but sort of quite lovely as well. It's Janice Ian with At 17.
I learned the truth at 17, that love was meant for beauty queens. In high school, girls with clear-skinned smiles who married young and then retired. The Valentines I never knew, the Friday night charades of youth, were spent on one more beautiful. At 17 I learned the truth. And those of us with ravaged faces, lacking in the social graces, desperately remained at home, inventing lovers on the phone, who called to say, come dance with me, and murmured vague obscenities. It isn't all it seems. It's 17. A brown-eyed girl in hand-me-downs, whose name I never could pronounce, said, pity please the ones who serve, they only get what they deserve. And the rich relation hometown queen marries into what she needs, with a guarantee of company and haven for the elderly. Remember those who win the game, lose the love they sought to gain, in debentures of quality and dubious integrity. The small town eyes will gape at you in dull surprise when payment due exceeds accounts received. It's 17. name in those whose names were never called when choosing sides for basketball. It was long ago and far away. The world was younger than today, and dreams were all they gave for free to ugly duckling girls like me. We all play the game when we dare to cheat ourselves at solitaire, inventing lovers on the phone, repenting other lives unknown. They call and say, come dance with me, murmur vague obscenities at ugly girls like me at 17.
What a lovely voice Janice has, or had. I'm not even sure. Is she still alive? I could check that quite quickly with the wonder of the internet. Let's have a look. I like the way her name's spelt, Janice, with the Janis. It reminds me of the queen from The Magician's Nephew who came from another planet, and I can't remember what her name was. Janice Ian is still alive. She's only 72 and she lives in Newark, New Jersey, sorry. And she's still going. Cool. That's cool. I really do like that way of spelling Janice without the CE. The CE, I find, it annoys me actually, that spelling of Janice with a CE for some reason. I suppose it's just the makeup of the word itself. Niece, Janice. What's the name of the queen in Magician's Nephew? The name of the queen in Magician's Nephew. Jadis. Yeah, I love that book. That was the second C.S. Lewis book I read after The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe when I was lucky enough, my mum, I was really quite a good reader when I was a kid, and Mum introduced me to reading that series when I was about, I think, 8 years old. And I read the 7 books in 7 months. And but that Magician's Nephew was probably my favourite, just because they had, over the years, I reread it a few times, and it had interdimensional travel in it, which was really just quite an amazing concept to be introduced to at quite a young age, which is essentially what Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is about, interdimensional travel. But it had it sort of laid out in another way in Magician's Nephew, with pulls and different worlds and worlds between worlds, and then of course the Queen Jadis, who came from her world, which was dying, to Earth, and then ended up in the new world that was growing, that became the setting for The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and she was in fact the witch in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. But she's a really cool character in that Magician's Nephew, like sort of a really powerful woman who's absolutely ruthless, and that's a cool character to come into contact with when you're a young boy growing up in Flaxmere in the 1980s in New Zealand, where New Zealand was pretty backward then still. Not that it's much further along now. Just kidding. It's definitely a lot further along, but perhaps could be, we could move a little bit more forward. I always get I'm routinely disturbed by the attitude of some people around me in rural and even urban New Zealand. But you get that everywhere in the world. I mean, there is this idea that if you leave New Zealand, you're going to find enlightened people in other countries, and you do. But there are also enlightened people here in New Zealand. So And wherever you go, there are sort of bores, thuggish, misogynist, racist, you name it. You name itist people. But yeah, I did enjoy that that character, Jadis. It's a pretty light read if you want to have a look at that book. It's probably a bit dated, but I don't know. I think I read it about 5 years ago just to have a look at it, maybe the first few chapters, and I was still sort of like, yeah, this is a cool book. But anyway, I've got a couple more songs to play. And one of them is this guy, Abel Salauko is his name, and he's a cellist. Or is he a cellist? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, he is. He's sort of, I mean, he's a cellist. I mean, you know, you'd be like, oh, yeah, he's a cellist. But no, this guy is like, I'd say one hell of a cellist. Check this out. Yeah, so that's Abel Saloche is how you say his surname, which is spelt Saleocoe. Abel Saloche. Yeah, wow. What an amazing musician. There's some cool clips on YouTube of him playing with different string sections and so on. He's South African. And yeah, a bit of a guy who people are saying is redefining the cello, which is pretty cool. And a big call, actually. And I'm sure there's probably more quite adventurous cellists out there, but he's definitely doing some cool stuff, Abel. Yeah. And, well, I suppose it's almost the end of the show, really. I mean, I could carry on a little bit longer. There's nothing else on. And I think I will, because I've got a couple more songs I'd like to play. So I've got a track here called Shazam, and it's by a group called Spiderbait. And I'm just going to say that they're Australian, because then I'll probably find out that they're not. Pretty sure they are, though. Yes, look at that, I was right. They're from Finley, New South Wales, formed in 1991 by Janet English. And Shazam is a really cool track that I remember hearing in the mid-90s and thinking, wow, that's a cool track. So now I'm going to play it for you. And you can hear it in 2023 and think, maybe you can think, wow, that's a cool track, or you can think, what is that? What is that detestable cacophony? No, it's good. Here it is. Yeah, so that's Shazam by Spiderbait. And it actually, I can't have heard it in the mid-90s because it didn't come out until 1999, but I mean, you know, those years sort of all sort of fade into a big blob between about 1990 and 2010, to be honest. A large a large blob of many numbers and events and experiences that I remember all of. So yeah, I mean, Spiderbait, they did do a cover of, I suppose their biggest song is again one of those, they did have a lot of original music that was pretty good though, Spiderbait. They're not sort of in the realm of Top Loader and the like, who had one hit due to covering someone else's song, but Spiderbait did actually do a cover of Black Betty, which was also covered by Ram Jam and Ministry, in fact. Ministry do quite a cool cover of Black Betty. Maybe I should play that. I know I've got it here on a playlist somewhere. Ministry are a band from the United States with a lead singer named Al Jorgensen. And I saw Ministry live in Melbourne in 2014 at Soundwave. And it was a pretty stacked lineup that day, actually, because they had, along with Ministry, was Fear Factory, who are sort of industrial electronic metal. Quite good, if you're into that sort of thing, which I am. Also Incubus, Soundwave, Faith No More. And there are a couple of like quite good black metal bands there that a friend of mine was interested in seeing. But it was an excellent day. Faith No More were great. They played a lot off Angel Dust, which is my favourite album by them. Well, yeah, I mean, it sneaks ahead of Album of the Year and King for a Day and The Real Thing. But yeah, Ministry. I was going to play Ministry, Black Betty. Let's find it. It might be a bit of an assault on the senses for some people, but if you're not into industrial metal, but I don't know. I mean, the original. We could play there. Actually, let's do a little trip down the evolution of a song, and we could play the Lead Belly version if it's here. And here it is, Lead Belly. This is the original. It came out at about 1929. So we'll play that first. Could play a little excerpt from each of them, and perhaps finish with the Ministry one. But here's Lead Belly. He's like a black American musician, blues musician, prominent in the late 20s and 30s in the United States, I'm pretty sure. Here he is.
Oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump steady, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump steady, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, looky on a Black Betty, bam-a-lam, looky on a Black Betty, bam-a-lam, turn around, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump down, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, Black Betty had a baby, bam-a-lam, Black Betty had a baby, bam-a-lam, little thing went crazy, bam-a-lam, little thing went crazy, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump steady, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump steady, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, looky yonder, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, looky yonder, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, little thing went blind, bam-a-lam, a little thing went blind, bam-a-lam, I said it wasn't none of mine, bam-a-lam, they said it wasn't none of mine, bam-a-lam, what about it, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, what about it, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, look at yonder, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump steady, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, run yonder, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, turn around, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, eh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, eh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, look at yonder, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, run around, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, jump down, Black Betty,
Now we can leap forward a few years to it being covered by Ram Jam, and you'd be more familiar with this version, I'd say. that a million times though, so we'll now play the Ministry one, which is my favourite. Here it is. So that is a bit of an assault on the senses there. Naturally Black Betty. Al Jurgensen actually does have a good voice, he just likes singing in weird distorted tones. He's a hell of a showman. When I saw him in Melbourne he was 56 years old and he was the best front person of any group I saw that day. He was just in the zone. And they played a lot of their album, I can never remember how to say it. It was like, had a weird picture of like an angel on the front of it. Good album. But yeah, let's play something nice to close the show out today. And it's a track by Chaka Khan, which was released recently actually, like 2015 maybe? I can't, yeah, not that long ago. Chaka Khan, an artist who was prominent in the 80s, late 70s perhaps. But anyway, this is cool.
It's like
It's like sugar, so sweet, good enough to eat. When you feel the fun, I can't beat. Get up on your feet. It's like sugar, so sweet, good enough to eat. When you feel the fun, I can't beat. Get up on your feet. Wow, what a state that I'm in. Everybody here is dancing. All I wanna do is get your body left to mine. Baby, won't you step to me? Come on and make a move. Let me take you something about this party groove.
Yeah, well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for listening. A few tunes there to check out and things to have a look at. I do highly recommend that documentary, The Alpinist, on Netflix. Well worth the watch. Quite moving and inspiring, in my opinion. And also, yeah, have a wonderful week, because I know I will. Good day.